Hello and welcome to Rathods Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 30th July 2024. So let's get started with our discussion. So here I am taking Delhi edition of Hindu. So whichever edition you have, you can go to that. There will be no problem with taking any other edition. So this is your front page of Hindu today. So unfortunately in this front page, I didn't find anything which is very important. So actually I don't want to waste your single minute of time also. Okay, so because of that, I'm doing separately the recording class for this YouTube only. Okay, so here in this page of city edition also, I didn't get anything much important. So you can simply leave this. And even the states page also, there is nothing much important, not today's paper especially. And even in this states page also, very much important article is not at all there. Okay, so you can directly move on to your editorial page. So before that, here you can see one article. It is about amoebic brain infection confirmed in Kerala boy. So actually we are seeing this topic from past 1 week onwards. So just revise the facts regarding what is this amoebic brain infection, what is the name of that amoeba which is causing this infection, and what are the signs and symptoms and why it is that much dreadful. So you have to see that thing. So it is also called as amoebic meningoencephalitis. Okay, so this is the only article in our states page which is relevant from your UPSC point of view. And if you see this editorial, here you can see one article. It is about human failure. If you see the central theme of this article, it is saying about the deaths of IS aspirants in basement flooding were preventable. So here, can we take this topic under disaster management? Yes, right? It is talking about death of IAS aspirants in Delhi. So death happened, that means some tragedy happened. So here we can link it into our disaster management from GS paper 3 point of view. So where we can connect this topic with human made disasters. It is about human made disaster. So here this article is saying that yes, this type of disasters are preventable. Okay, they are preventable disasters, and it is talking about especially what are the steps need to be taken to avoid such type of disasters in future. So here exactly what you have to know about what are the causes for this disaster and what are the measures that you can take to prevent this type of incidents in near future. Okay, so here from this topic you can also expect case study from your GS paper 4 ethics. Okay, so overall this article is important from disaster management, and next is ethics GS paper 4. And now let us try to understand this topic clearly, and let us try to see or get some insights regarding this topic. Like if you are getting this ethics case study, so how you have to handle that case study. Okay, so this article is talking about death of 3 IS aspirants in Delhi. So in basement what happened, suddenly the flooded water had been increased, and because of that unfortunately the death of 3 people happened. Okay, so this article is saying that so these are preventable human failures, because in coaching center if they might have took some efficient steps, then we can prevent this type of tragedies or like disasters. So this comes under preventable human failure. And actually this topic we can connect with one more topic from our geography point of view, that is urban flooding or like flash floods in cities. So urban flooding incidents are often exaggerated. That means there is increasing of impact of this urban floods because of inadequate infrastructure, and even especially in some coaching centers in Delhi because of place constraints. Even in basements also they are conducting the classes by arranging the chairs, and even they are using that basement space or underground space for providing study halls to the students. So there is misuse of basements is happening. Normally these undergrounds are used for just parking purpose. So instead of that parking purpose, they are giving directly coaching in that. So here there is misuse of basements, and regulations they aimed at safety or frequently ignored. So whatever the rules and regulations to be followed by the coaching institutes, they are ignoring, and because of this ignoring of that safety precautions and rules and regulations, that is finally causing disaster. Okay, so this is a thing which mainly said in this article. And if you see the key insights in this article, it is saying that there is human oversight. So coaching centers, in this coaching center, because of this tragic incident, we can understand that there is systemic failure. So the keyword here is you have to write the systemic failure, and they are not adhering properly to the safety regulation. This is second keyword. So that whatever the rules and regulations are there, so we have to follow those guidelines strictly so that we can ensure the safety of the students. So the keywords are, first one is systemic failure, second one is not adhering to the safety regulations, and second important key point here is urban planning flaws. So in urban areas, if you go to each and every building or any other like house, so we will be having this basements, and especially they are using for parking purpose. And actually there is one more problem in our expansion of cities is inadequate urban planning, and even we are not properly following the building codes. So especially buildings, they have to take the permission for 2 plus G plus 2. So the permission will be given for G plus 2. But what happens because of this political nexus and giving of corruption, so they are building more floors without proper permission itself. So here we are having some problems in our urban planning itself. So we have to come up with a proper attention from city planners. And next one here is we need to focus on compliance. That means from government side, they have to go for frequent inspections, and they have to give the proper permissions, and before giving permission itself, they have to go to the site and they have to inspect that region properly. And next one here is there will be also negative impact of urbanization. So whenever there is rapid increase of population in these urban areas within a short period of time, what happens? There will be increase in demand for housing, increase in demands for hostels, increase in demand for coaching institutes, or like any study halls, etc. That is seen highly in this Ashok Nagar region. So what happened? Because of this, automatically there will be increasing of pressure on infrastructure in the urban areas. So because of this, what happens? So they are coming up with unsafe building practices. Within 2 to 3 months of time, you can see the rising of buildings without proper planning, without proper strong materials you are using. And because of this, what happened? Even this will be leading to unsustainable urban practices or unsustainable urban planning. And next one is, so they will be not having proper even flood prevention strategies. They will be not having proper drainage system. So this is the one important reason where whenever there is a small rainfall also, you can see this roads will become rivers. And next one is we are not implementing proper flood resilient measures. So this is also one keyword. Okay, flood resilient measures are not there, and even we are having non-porous walls. So because of this non-porous walls or non-porous roads, so there will be no seeping of water seeping will be not there. So because of this, they will be flowing on the surfaces. And next one is we don't have proper efficient drainage system to control the water. So here we have to learn from the history. So in the past also, we know that many a times we discussed in our news analysis that urban floods in Chennai, urban floods in Bangalore, urban floods in Hyderabad. So here we have to understand this past flooding incidents, and we have to know that yes, we need improved infrastructure to deal with this problem, and we need to take proper measures and and especially some steps to control this type of tragedies in at least in the future. And next one is even raising awareness is very important. So what are the steps which are taken by the government side? If people are not knowing those steps, or if they are not aware, means it will be going on a waste. So even proper community awareness is also very, very important, so that we can maintain accountability, and also we can take some preventive actions from the ground level. Okay, so all these are the important key sites from this article. So I want to give you one mains question. So read this mains question. So in this way, you can get question your disaster management for sure. And from disaster management, every year you will be getting 30 to 45 marks. Okay, you will be getting either two questions or three questions, that too based on the current affairs itself. So we are considering this as a man-made disaster. So here you can get a question like discuss the role of urban planning and governance in preventing tragedies like recent basement flooding in a New Delhi coaching center. And next one is you have to suggest some measures to improve safety and emergency response in urban areas. So it is talking about what is the role of urban planning. I said about what are the problems in our urban planning that is leading to this type of disaster. So you can write about 3 to 4 points there, and measures like proper inspections and proper permissions, building codes need to be followed, right, proper drainage system. So all these measures you can write, right? So at least 4 to 5 points in these two questions, then your work is done. Clear? And if you move on to our Delhi page, so here there is one article, it is about the problem with India's blocking of Chinese. So can you expect anything which might be given in this article? Can you expect something? What is there in this article? It is talking about India-China relations. So this article is talking about India-China relations. So where we will be reading this topic? Under GS paper 2, international relations. So with China we are sharing boundary. So it comes under India bilateral relations. It comes under India bilateral relations. So what is the issue here is, so it is not the issue which is going on this year like 2024. Even before you started your preparation, I think many of you might not started your preparation from 2019. So from 2019 onwards, what happened? There is decreasing of giving visas to Chinese working professionals to India. So the issue it started in 2019 onwards. So from 2019 onwards, so working visas had been reduced to give from India's side towards this Chinese people. So as you all know that China, which is well, especially developed in manufacturing sector, and almost all countries, they are having the products of China, right? So compared to India, China is having advanced technology, and also it is having good labor, and as well as they are having skilled workers. So the issue here is whenever India reduced this providing visas to these Chinese workers, so we are compromising on skilled workers in India. So if they are giving the visa, so the skilled people can come to India, and that will be helpful for development of our country at large, right? So for any development of any industry or any company, we need skilled worker. So we are getting those from China, but recently from 2019 we decreased that. So here this article is saying that because of this step which is taken by India to reduce this, so what is the impact going to see in our economy? So that is the summary of this article. I hope you understood, right? Okay, so we can connect this topic with GS paper 3 under economy. So because of this skill labor visa reduced to China, so what is the impact going to have on our Indian economy? So how it leads to decreasing of our economic growth, okay, and even how it is going to affect our relations from international relations point of view. So those are the two important things that you have to focus. And now let us see this topic in detail. So this article is saying that India's economic growth increasingly depends on foreign expertise, particularly who are coming from China, because they are advanced. They are using advanced technology compared to that of India, and even they have skilled worker more compared to that of India. So this article is saying that Indian authorities have promised more visas to Chinese technicians whose help Indian businesses, which is urgent need. So in our Indian business, we need skilled workers that we are going to get from this China. So recently one statement which is made that we are going to increase this providing of visas to this Chinese professionals to enter into India. So even we have the Department of Promotion and Industry and Internal Trade, right? DPIIT. So this department also said that yes, we are having a significant skill gap in India. So we are going to get at least supervisors and workers from China, so that to that time currently we can fill this significant skill gap. So what are the key insights that you know, that you need to know regarding this article here is, there is acknowledgement of skill deficit. So actually even our government officials and other departments, they identified that yes, in India we are having skill gap. So this is the keyword you have to use in your answer, substantial skill gap. And yet our bureaucracy is surrounding visa stifles for immediate solutions. So this is saying that yes, there is a disconnect between recognition as well as action. So even though we identified that yes, now there is a skill gap, so if you want to focus on the boost of our economy, we need these people. But even though they are not coming forward to increasing of visa, so this is happening from 2019 onwards. So this is the thing we can understand, there is acknowledgement of skill deficit. So even we recognized, but there is no proper action. And next one is there is declining of visa numbers. So the sharp decline in this Chinese worker visas which happened since 2019. So it is demonstrating that how geopolitical tensions can adversely affect our economic needs. Okay, so that we need a policy adjustment. As you all know that we and US are friends. So US and China, they are enemies. And because of trade war that happened around, that started around China and US from 2018-19 onwards, so it is having impact on India also. India reduced this visa numbers for China. So ultimately it is having impact on our economy. Okay, right? So this is the meaning of this statement. Because of the thing which is happening across the world, because of geopolitical tensions, that will be having the impact on any other country's foreign policy in this globalized era, because every country is depend upon another country. And next one is even we need this technical expertise now, because we need to focus on especially increasing of our economic growth, and even we are talking about self-reliance. That means the things we need to produce in our country. So for time being we can bring them, okay, so that we can bridge the skill gap. And obviously if we are training our Indians regarding that skill, obviously we can achieve our aim of self-reliance. So if you're not bringing this expertise now, what happened? We have to directly import the things from other countries. So because of that, what happened? It will be further hindering our economic growth. And next one here is now we are having a big barrier, that is education as a barrier. So in India, especially in our education system, we are having many shortcomings. So because of this, what happened? So we are not getting the proper skill that is required on the ground. Okay, practically whatever the knowledge we require, so that we are not getting from our education system. That means again we need to reform our education system. So that is one more point that we can get from this article. And this one is, if you see this foreign expertise versus our national security, now here the tension which is going on between this foreign technical expertise, and especially we are prioritizing our national security interest. So why we are not allowing this foreigners to enter into our India, especially from China? Because we are giving the priority for the national security. So again, there is one ethical dilemma, whether we have to focus on national security or whether we have to focus on this foreign experts, or whether we have to focus on our economic growth. And next one here is we can learn from East Asian model. So whenever you are writing answers or essays, I'll be telling about write some case studies also. So in this article, this is a case study, that is we are learning from East Asian models. So there are successful some East Asian countries, they says that we can blend the foreign knowledge with the domestic education strategy so that we can go for economic growth. That had been done in these East Asian countries. So that we can also adopt in our country. And next one here is we can focus on economic growth. So India's aspiration here is we need to focus on job-rich prosperity. It is a distant dream because now the unemployment rate is 9.2%, is too high. So if you want to reduce this unemployment rate, means we have to create the employment. So whenever we are bringing that expertise people to our country, then we can increase our production, we can get advanced technology, so that what happened, what are the distant dream of job rich prosperity we can achieve. So that is also one advantage we are having if you are bringing them. Clear? And I want to give you one mains question, guys. So see this question. India's economic growth increasingly depends on foreign expertise, particularly from China. So this is the one statement which is given. So on this statement, you have to critically analyze the implications of this dependency. So analyze means you have to write the positives and as well as negatives. Both positives and negatives you have to write. And later on, you have to suggest some strategies like Whenever I'm talking about strategies, you can use case studies. Like here, East Asian countries, okay, and how you can enhance self-reliance in our country. So here, positives of getting them and negatives of getting them. You already know that, at least 2 points. And this one is measures. So you can write about case study of East countries and you can give 3 to 4 points with examples, then your task is done. Clear? So in this way, you have to write your mains answers. And let us go back to our paper. Here there is one article again. It is talking about any further delay in census taking it perilous. So is this a new topic? No. So from last 2 to 3 months onwards, we are seeing this topic of census, which is in news. So what is a census? Census is the data where we are collecting about the number of population in our country. Okay, it is talking about census. So here every year, for every once in 10 years, we will be having our census. So which is the last census data we have? Yes, we have last census data 2011. That means after 10 years we will be having census, right? That means we need to get 2021 census, but due to this COVID-19 pandemic, yes, it had been delayed, and now we are expecting that by 2026 we are going to get this census data, but we are not sure whether it will be released or not, because still now we are in 2024, but the work had been not yet started on the ground, so we don't know. So here where we can connect this topic, in GS paper 2 we have governance, and in GS paper 3 we have economy, and from GS paper 2 we have society and what not. So each and every subject is related to this census now. So you can get ethical dimensions, you can get governance, like what are the policies from education or health based on this data, and you can talk about reservation of women in Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly, that is Nari Shakti bill, already passed in 2023, but it is dependent on the census data. So everything it is related to this, right? So here this article it is focusing on, because of delaying of census further, what are the impacts we are going to see. So on this the article is set. So now let us see those points clearly. So in the absence of census after 2011, welfare schemes continue to be out of reach for many, because from 2011 to 2021, so lot of number of population had been already increased, but now in 2024 that means 13 years, right? So here many people, they are not available or they are not eligible for this welfare scheme because of lack of proper census data. So if you see, there is delay in census. So census in India initially set for 2021, but facing significant delays, and with a reduced budget of 1,309 crore, so which is a rising concern. And actually, there is one more dilemma. Even by 2026 also, can we get this data or not? So what are the key points you have to understand? So now there is a very important need for getting this data, because of this lack, whenever we are not having proper data, it will having negative impact on government planning. It will leads to inadequate service delivery to the population, and without proper accurate data, policy will not become effective. So there will be ineffective policy implementation. So these will be the problems, and you have to write all these words. First one is inadequate service delivery, and next one is policy implementation problem. Okay, so like that you have to write these keywords whenever you are writing your answers. And next one here is, even there are concerns in our budget also. So in budgets in health there is very less spending, and even education also very less spending, and even in engineering also there is reduced allocations. So because of this, what happened, because of lack of proper data, so we are seeing that different sectors you are not properly getting funds allocation. So this is also one problem. And next one is, even there is impact of women representation also, because we studied about this Nari Shakti Act. Okay, so it had been passed in 2023, which says about 33% of reservation for women in state legislative assembly and as well as in Lok Sabha. So when we are going to implement this, once we get this census data, then only we will be implementing this. So if we are not getting this data as soon as possible, means there will be delaying of providing of reservation to this women. So it is also one important problem. And next one here is state readiness. So states like Tamil Nadu, they are prepared to conduct this census, and it is indicating that some states are coming forward and some states they are lagging behind. And next one is, even we have this national population register. So here under this national population register also some changes they were proposed. So because of this also there will be issues on privacy, issues on civic rights, and even there is no proper clear communication between states and as well as central government. So these are some problem. And apart from that, here recently Bihar went for this caste based census data, right? So caste based data. So based on that, they have said that they are going to increase reservation to 65%, and that had been struck down by Patna High Court, right? So here, whenever there is also demand for this caste-based data, then here what happens? We can understand that this marginalized people will be getting benefit, and even whatever the inequalities are there, that inequalities can be addressed. Okay, so that is one important data that we need to have. And apart from this, even we are having some constitutional implications. Like 2001, we came with amendment and we came with this delimitation to the census data. Okay, and especially the census data is also very important for dividing the constituencies, because each and every constituencies need the same population. So this is also one important cause of concern regarding this delaying of census data. So I gave you one mains question, so see this once. So the census in India initially set for 2021 faces significant delay. So this is the statement given. On this statement you are asking, the keyword is discuss implication of this delay on governance, on policy making and socio-economic planning. So you have to take these three side headings like governance process, policy making and as well as socio-economic planning, and what will be the implications. Either it may be positive or negative. So here you can get only negative implications and you have to write that. Clear? So at least 2 points here, 2 points here, 2 points here. One example, 9 points had been done, and you can write at least one small conclusion at last. Then your answer can be done. Clear? Are you getting fear of writing mains? No, right? So you are having at least some points to write. Okay. Now let us go to your opinion page. Here you can see one article. In 2024, New York's districts are affected by militancy in Jammu and Kashmir. So I am saying one thing repeatedly when we discuss this topic of Jammu and Kashmir infiltration. Like, you have to note down the places where this incidents are being happening. So can you tell me some examples of the places where this incidents happened? Next. D. Next. Here you can see, write at least now, Poonch. Next one is Doda, Doda, D-O-D-A. Next one is Katua. Next one is Resi. Okay. So here, what you have to refer? So this topic is related to Kashmir infiltration, right? It is related to Kashmir infiltration. So this article is important from GS paper 2 under international relations. It is important from GS paper 3 under internal security. And it is important from even GS paper 3 science and technology, because they are using much more advanced technology compared to that of Indians or Indian military, so that we are not able to find those 12 militant groups you are present or operating in this Jammu and Kashmir. And can we relate it to society? GS paper 2 society? Yes. And even you have to connect with GS paper 2 under governance. So what are the policies of the government which is coming up? Okay, and even from science and technology, we have to see about our defense services also, like what are the measures taken by army, air force, etc. Okay, and here especially the dimensions are, you have to know about what are the reasons for this Kashmir infiltration, and you have to see what are the measures can be taken. Okay, and what are the science and technology related things that we have to see this thing. Okay, so these are the dimensions that you have to know, and number of times we discuss this topic. I'm not going to see this. And in this text and context, there is one article. It is about can states tax mining activities. So recently, 2 days ago itself, we discussed that Supreme Court gave a judgment which gave now the power to states to impose tax. So earlier, the power is present with only central government. Now, here under this act, okay, you have to remember that act, that is Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957. Okay, so it gave the power to center government to impose tax. But now here Supreme Court judgment said that no, it is the power of states, so that we can ensure cooperative federalism and as well as federalism thing. So already we had discussion in our earlier class. Let us see this in detail. Okay, so this article is saying that in landmark ruling, actually this case is belonging to 1989, and 2 days ago I discussed about what is 1989 case and 2004 case, and now in 2024 we got the final judgment. So here the landmark ruling on July 25th, Supreme Court affirmed that states, they have the legislative authority to impose taxes on this mineral rich lands. Okay. In addition, the royalty can be levied by center. So earlier what happened, royalty should be laid by states, and next one is taxes should be levied by center. But this 2024 judgment which had been reversed. So now royalty can be laid by center and tax will be laid by the state. So this is the thing that you have to see. So here upholding the principles of federalism, now the verdict, Supreme Court verdict clarified that the power of state legislature it is to tax the mineral activities, okay, within their states, and there will be no constraints under this Parliament's Mines and Minerals Act of 1957. And in this way what happened, so this judgment which gave empowerment to states so that they can get some revenue whenever they are taxing these mineral rich areas, and that will be helpful for better resource management and for welfare of that state and to give some schemes. And next one here is, now we got difference between what is royalty and tax which had been defined, and this decision which also highlights that importance of federalism in our country. So whenever you are writing an answer regarding federalism, you can use this article as an example, okay, for sure, so that you can improve your presentation, your answer. And next one is, if you see this legal precedents, so the conflicting historical judgments like 1989 judgment and 2004 judgment, which had created a very complex legal landscape in India. And finally what happened? So in this 2024 we had a very simplified judgment and gave power to the states. And next one is, we know that some areas they are rich in these minerals and some areas they don't. So here there will be regional disparities when we are going from one state to another state. And next one is, if you are talking about the future of mining regulations, now here states are empowered to tax, and further regulation they are likely to evolve so that we can have a proper resource management soon. And even because of this judgment we are having some economic implications, like the state taxes can be increased, and actually it will be also having impact on investment sector in this mining sector. In mining sector the investment decision can be also might be changed, because if my state is having more minerals means, so my state can attract more investment. So if your state is having less minerals means your state will be attracting very less investments. So in this way we are going to have the future implications based on the amount of the mines you are present, right? Okay. Now if you see this article, it is the last one. The project Tiger will displace 5.5 lakh tribals, says the report. So we need to focus on conservation. So environment and ecology is going on to you, right? So there sir said about conservation, environment, sustainability, biodiversity, everything, ecosystem, what are the functions of ecosystem, food chain, food web, different geochemical cycles. So for what we need to maintain a proper environment. So here this tiger comes under top predator. So in this pyramid structure, so tiger will be maintaining this top place. So if this number of this tiger had been decreased means it is having the impact on the lower trophic levels. So maintaining of these top predators is very important. So because of this big animals are protected by our government, like we have Project Rhino, Project Elephant, Project Tiger. So this article is saying that because of this Project Tiger, so it is displacing about 5.5 lakh tribal people. Okay, so recently report released on this Global Tiger Day, it says that because of this Project Tiger, it is going to displace approximately 5.5 lakh scheduled tribes and also forest dwellers in India. So here what happens, so there is a issue of displacement. So whenever people are displaced, again rehabilitation will comes into the big question, where they will be rehabilitated, whether they are getting the basic features or not, everything that will comes into question, and even how we are going for conservation. So conservation versus individual rights, it is one of the ethical dilemma. So whether we have to focus on protecting of rights of the people or whether we have to go for conservation. So this is the two things comes into the ethical dilemma. And this one is, if you see the history from 2021 onwards, because of shifting of policy and implementation practices, we are prioritizing wildlife over human settlements. So this is also one cause of concern. And apart from this, even regional disparities is happening. For example, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, they suggest that certain areas, they bear already heavier burden. So that will lead to regional unrest. So where these tigers will be there normally in grasslands, right? So normally in grassland, we can see this tigers habitat will be there. They will be not present in this heavy rain evergreen forest, right? So here, if you see in India, where grasslands are present, especially in this Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan region, we will be having. So if in this region, if they are going for increasing of this tiger conservation means, if your those tribal people who are present in that area, if they are sent out from their habitat means what happened? That will lead to regional unrest, and even human rights concerns will be also come into picture. So whether the rights of animals is important or whether the human rights is important. So this will be also one concern. And next one is, this article is saying that because of this resentment of conservation policies, so here we have to focus on even policy evaluation, because we have to respect even local communities also. Their livelihood is also important. They also having the fundamental rights. They also having the human rights. And even we have to focus on public awareness about the consequences of this conservation efforts and how it is going to impact on these marginalized sections of people. And even we have to understand what will be the future implications as well. So if you see some facts regarding this Project Tiger, it is a wildlife conservation initiative and we came up in year 1973, and the important objective is to ensure survival and maintenance of tiger population in their natural habitats. And actually we started with only 9 reserves, but it had been increased a lot in this time. Okay, so that's it. And here you can see one main question, discuss the significance of Global Tiger Day. So whenever you are celebrating any day, for example, Environment Day, for example, Toilet Day, or for example, any days, Mother's Day, for example, AIDS Day. So why we are celebrating that? Especially to raise awareness. So why we are celebrating this Global Tiger Day? To increase the awareness about the conservation of tiger, and even people have to know about what is the importance of tiger in the ecosystem. Right, and next one here is, you have to evaluate what is the current status of tiger population in India. So in Karnataka, how many tigers are there? No idea. I didn't go to any national park or count those tigers. So here your work is search about in which state how many tigers are there in India and which state is having the huge number of tigers in India. It is very important. And what are the measures need to be taken to ensure their protection? So try to write an answer for this question. And in this news page, you can see one article, it is about Quad. Quad calls for end to violence in Ukraine, Gaza and Myanmar. So in all these three countries, we are having issues. Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Palestinian war, and this one is in Myanmar, we have military junta, right? So because of this, these four countries, here we have India, next one is US, next one is Australia, and next one is Japan. So these four countries, you are part of this Quad. They want to end the violence in these 3 areas so that we can ensure peace and tranquility in this Indian Ocean region. And next, here there is article regarding Project Tiger I discussed. Yeah, here you can see one RBI report. It says that India stands at the forefront of digital revolution. In digital revolution, India is standing the forefront. So here you have to see this report. The name here is Report on Currency and Finance of year 2023 to 2024, and this report is released by RBI, so it is very important for examination. So this report is released by RBI, and what is this report is saying about? Especially it is talking about we are front in digital revolution, but even though in this digital technology we are having some challenges like cyber security, data privacy, third party risk, consumer protection, upskilling, reskilling of human resource, and financial problems or business models. So these are the problems still we are having, and we have to take efficient steps to control these problems. Okay, so these are the very important articles that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much for watching, and we are going to meet in the next class. And one more thing I want to announce is, so we are going to start science and technology classes in our Rathods IS Academy from August 6th. So this classes will be taken by Sukrut Sinha sir, who is ex-IDS officer. And if you're preparing for TSPSC, in TSPSC Group 1 mains, we have science and technology for 150 marks. So you can take the classes here just for only science and technology module, and classes will be there for 10 to 12 days. Every day you will be having 4 hours of classes, and especially they will be focusing on current affairs of last 2 years, and each and every topic coverage will be there in your science and technology. And that's all. So if you want to join that course, you can contact me. The number is 8074765513. So by this I'm concluding, and please do like this class and share this class to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Rathods IS Academy.